And, there's two key ingredients, I believe, to a backup quarterback. Number one, you need to be willing to take the pay that's being offered, obviously. And number two, you need to be willing to accept your spot on the depth chart. Not every team wants a competitor. Most teams don't want a competitor as the backup quarterback. They want somebody who is there, understanding his role is to support and assist and get the most out of the starter. Flacco willing to do that as well. And that brings us to Cam Newton, because every time a quarterback signs now, and I hate to compare Cam Newton to Colin Kaepernick because it is dramatically different circumstances, but I'm starting to detect that same vibe. That when any other quarterback signs, there is this uproar in portions of Twitter where people say, whoa, wait a minute. Cam, how can it be that Cam Newton still doesn't have a job? And to me, this is as easy as anything to explain.
Yes, it is. Explain it, Mike.
Would Cam Newton have accepted $1.5 million base and a spot on the depth chart behind Sam Darnold and a willingness to be the backup? And also,
absolutely not.
And Chris, and here's the other thing too, even if he would accept it, the problem is he's better than Sam Darnold, and the players on the team are going to know it, and they're going to instantly have a controversy. This is one of those that even Cam Newton's mindset, if you could attach him to a lie detector test and he would say, I'll happily take $1.5 million. I'll happily be the backup. I'm here to support Sam Darnold. The moment he goes out on the practice field, the moment he stands next to Sam Darnold, and you see the physical difference between the two guys, it's over.
It's over.
You're going to have guys looking at each other saying, why in the hell is 23-year-old Sam Darnold the quarterback of this team? Don't we want to win games? Why isn't it Cam? And I feel bad for Cam. He's a victim of the fact that he's as good as he is and that he's so clearly better than most quarterbacks currently in the NFL. And teams can't afford to have that when they're all in with the guy who is their starter and they want to see what his potential can be and can he reach it. They can't have a guy there that's going to make more than half of the locker room say, what the hell are we doing? Why isn't Cam the quarterback?
That's it, Mike. I mean, you said it perfectly. He's the opposite of Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's willing to sit in the back of the room and just go, okay, when they want to give me a few reps, that's cool. I'll give a few reps, and I'm not going to make a lot of noise, and I'll execute those reps, but it's not going to make anybody's jaws drop or, their eyes pop wide open. Cam Newton, he brings more to a team than lasers and being able to run over linebackers on the football field. Cam Newton has a presence in the locker room. When he walks in the locker room, the whole team's going to go, damn, there's Cam Newton. He's going to be loud, and he's got charisma, and he's going to rally people around him. And that would be the worst thing for a team that is trying to still mold a young quarterback to be what Cam Newton was for Carolina for the New York Jets. That would be horrible. It would be disaster. It would ruin Sam Darnold. It really would. And you're right. It would cause all sorts of, conversations in the locker room or whatever it may be. So, yes, Cam Newton, to your point, Mike, is a victim of his own greatness, his own physical ability. And, yeah, we don't know where he's going to go right now. He's going to wait it out. He's certainly not going to sign for $1.5 million to be a backup to a guy like Sam Darnold. There's no way that's going to happen. So it might be a while, but it has nothing to do with, disrespecting Cam Newton or racism or anything like that. That's one thing I see on social media that I just, I will not partake in those thoughts. That's wrong.
And there's been suggestions and reports that he's willing to be a backup. And look, first of all, I don't think he should be willing to be a backup. He is better than most of the quarterbacks currently starting in the NFL. He should wait for his opportunity. And he's a victim of circumstance here because teams can't bring him in for a physical. Still now, 2 months into the pandemic, you can't bring guys in for physicals to your facility by your team doctors. Hopefully we'll be at that point soon where you can, but as of now, you can't. So you got to check out the foot. You got to check out the shoulder. He was using a new throwing motion last year, for crying out loud. That's how bad the shoulder was injured and surgically repaired in 2019. So that's an issue. There were ankle problems in the past. You want to make sure the guy's healthy. But, I look at it this way. If he's willing to go in as a backup, is his mindset, I'm willing to go in as a backup because once I show up, they're going to realize I should be the starter. I mean, that is, and because it should be that mindset, because it's true. For most teams, if you sign Cam Newton to be the backup, it is going to be abundantly clear within the first 2 practices that he should be the starter. And in New York, no one's going to say, whoa, did you see Joe Flacco out there on the practice field? Oh, he's better than Sam Darnold. No one's going to say that.
No,
but
they
will say, other than Green Bay, other than I'm
Kansas
having a hard
City.
time coming up with a list here. Kansas City, Houston,
Right.
Tampa Bay. Not that they would sign Cam Newton to be Tom Brady's backup, but there aren't a lot of teams where Cam Newton shows up and isn't the clear number one guy, regardless of what the depth chart looks like, and teams can't afford that. Even if you can afford Cam Newton, which you shouldn't be able to afford Cam Newton because he shouldn't settle for 1.5 or 5.5 or 7.5. He should be waiting for starter money, and I think at this point his best play is to wait for someone to get injured. And people say, oh, that's morbid. It's reality. It happens.
Yeah.
Look at how many guys were injured and gone week 2 last year, including Cam Newton. Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees. Now, Brees was only out 5 weeks. And let me ask you this, Chris, because if we've talked about it before, I can't remember when we did. Is there a concern if you wait for Cam Newton to get injured, or if Cam Newton waits for someone to get injured, not if you wait for Cam Newton to get injured, but if Cam Newton waits for someone to get injured, is there a concern that the team will go next man up on the depth chart in lieu of bringing in Cam, even if he's healthy and ready to go, because he doesn't know the offense and we have a guy who's up to speed? Is that a concern?
Yeah, well, it is a concern. I think the thing that, I think that's part of the reason why Cam probably said that he would be willing to come in as a backup, because he knows, hey, man, I haven't played a lot of football over the last 2 years. I've been banged up. How to deal with that. Of course, he did go through training camp and all that. So I think that's part of it. Also, I think part of the reason he's willing to be a backup too, Mike, is something you said previously. I think he's got the ultimate self-confidence to where basically other than a few teams, he goes, if they sign me, I'm going to show them what I'm all about, and they're going to see that I'm better than the guy that they got starting, other than about 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. So he's certainly going to have that type of confidence. But, yeah, I think, Mike, to your question specifically, it's going to depend on that team and how comfortable they are with that backup. If it's a backup who, okay, he's got a good grasp of the offense, but, man, preseason football was shaky, and I'm not sure we can trust him, to rip off a bunch of regular season games, I think then that's when they bring in a Cam Newton. But if there's another situation where, hey, the backup was really great during the preseason and he's all over the offense and knows that, they might be reluctant to do that. So it's going to depend on the situation. Going to be intriguing. And I'm still going to go back to this, Mike. I still think Carolina, the more time that goes by, the more time I sit here and go, Carolina did him so dirty. They knew they were going to move on in January. Just move on. Let the guy release him and let him go find a team. Instead, he's screwed. He's in Screwedville right now. He can't do anything, and I don't know when the hell he'll sign to the football team.
If they had released him when they released Greg Olsen right after the Super Bowl, Cam Newton would have had a chance to go get checked out by other teams' doctors because it was all pre-pandemic. Now, he may not have been healthy then. We don't know. But the Panthers were trying to finagle trade value. They wanted to make something back for the Cam Newton contract. And it's an attractive contract, $19 million for 1 year. Now he would have wanted an extension. He should. This is the problem. The guy should want to be paid more than $20 million a year. He should expect a starting job. And the circumstances, whether it's the way the Panthers handled it, the pandemic, his health issues, the circumstances have conspired to make it harder for him to get to where he needs to be. But you're right. Somebody is going to realize, I don't feel all that good about what we have here. Maybe we should pull the ripcord and bring in Cam Newton. And I still think the Chargers should have done it. They still could do it. They still should do it. To the extent they want to sell tickets, although there may be no tickets to sell this year based on how the pandemic plays out. But I feel like there are many reasons, football and business reasons, to have Cam Newton as your starting quarterback. And I think eventually someone's going to wake up and realize Cam Newton is the direction in which we need to go.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.